Okay, Public Works, Counselor Wilkerson,
Here.
Counselor Gear, Counselor Sims,
Here.
Counselor Nellums. Here. Counselor Harden.
Here.
So Gear's absent, but you got a quorum.
Thank you. Can I have a motion to approve and dispense the reading of the minutes?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Counselor Nelms, second by Counselor Harden. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, 4-0. Yeah, 4-0. Old business 010220, request for updates on Green Springs revitalization. Mr. Squires.
Talked with Brian, we are still waiting on the beds. Will and them are just about through with all the, he's waiting on a few updated plants to get in. They're spending most of their time having to come in and water right now. But, we've got one little section of concrete they've got to come back and redo, but other than that, the pads are gonna be the problem, because right now they're telling us 6 to 8 weeks out on the pad poles.
There's 2 that we're waiting on, is that right?
3 count, the road got frozen.
Okay.
The car took out back there in February. So, I mean, other than that, they fix to start coming back through doing cleanup. I think Brian said hopefully probably first, second week of June, they'll come in and begin to do thermal striping. The green pedestrian and bicycle paint came in. So that was pretty much what they were waiting on. We'll let it cure probably another two more weeks, and then we'll start with it. They should start then putting in the permanent stripe at that point in time. So other than that, it's really right now. I mean, the pad poles are going to be the biggest issue moving forward.
What about the dividers for the?
They've come in.
They do have that.
Yeah, they came in with the green, the striping paint that we got for the bicycle lanes and stuff. So.
When do you think they'll put the loop sensors in and retime the lights and all that?
He told me Stone is trying to get that. We really want them to wait another 2 weeks to let everything cure.
Okay.
And then I'd ask them to start it the 1st of June when they, right before they start doing the striping.
Okay.
So if we can wait till then, hopefully it'll be good. I think they're trying to kind of readjust on the manual side right there at Oxmoor on the turn lane, kind of hold it a little bit longer.
Yeah.
So he did change that all last week, so I think that's kind of good.
Because they're all just on timers right now.
Yeah, right now they're just all on manual timers. So.
And then, did we determine that section between Green Springs and Broadway that
Yeah,
never got?
that's going to be done in that last phase.
Okay.
Because when we done it, we added the Broadway phase to it, and so they just left that out. So we're going to do it in that last phase going down to Lake Shore. So we'll just put it in with that.
Gotcha.
So.
Yeah, it was just confusing because they already did a section past it.
Well, I thought maybe it was
To Broadway.
because we waited on Birmingham Waterworks for about 4 or 5 weeks to fix that leak over to the right.
Gotcha.
And so they finally got it done, but we'll catch it in that last phase down there going to Lake Shore. Because I've got to take it all the way, pave and go all the way to the bridge, because the county stopped on the other side of the bridge instead of coming, so we'll take the paving all the way to the bridge there on Green Springs.
Okay.
I've heard that recently, it wasn't my understanding initially, but that if you're eastbound on Raleigh, and come to the Green Springs intersection, that they have worked it out to where there's going to be a right turn lane there. Is that correct? That's fantastic.
Very
Okay.
nice.
That's great.
Are they just going to fix that with striping?
Yeah, we'll come back in and do it. Right now, that's the plan. So they're going to go back and measure one more time, and get all the loops and get everything put in and make sure it's able to do that.
I think that's a big deal for a lot of people.
Well, it won't hold many cars. There's still going to be a tight squeeze in there.
Well,
So we're talking maybe
any
one or
little
two.
bit helps.
Yeah.
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 Still better than middle.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, because when they approach,
If
they
you at
don't
least,
think about it.
yeah, if we at least stripe it so that people know, I think
Yeah.
that'll help too.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, the striping, I won't have one.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, thanks for that.
Great, thank you. We'll go ahead and carry that over without objection. New business 020522, request for permission to work in the city right away to remove trees adjacent to 1703 Shades Park Drive. William Siegel, Twin Construction, and YPU.
Are you Mr. Siegel?
Yeah.
If you would sign in
Sign in
with
down there, yeah.
Ms. Salter.
There should be a, yeah.
Right here.
I'm doing something. William Siegel, I'm with Twin Construction. We've got a new residence that we're building at 1703 Shades Park Drive. There's a vacant alley behind that building with some kind of tall pines that we're asking to take down. I guess 3 of those are loblolly pines, and then there's a smaller black cherry sugarberry tree. We've talked to all the neighbors are fine with it. The city arborist came out and he was fine with it, Abraham.
That's cool.
Okay.
Happy to answer any questions or.
Did he say why? I guess just some sort of explanation for why it's needed, why, you know, if the trees were diseased or not, or.
He didn't give us any elaborate explanation. He just sent me an email stating he approved removal of the trees.
Mr. Chair, I believe that loblolly pine is in places, but I could be wrong. I think that's correct.
There's 3 of them, looks like.
Yes.
Okay. And what's visually what's in that red section right now? Is that the alley?
Yeah, it's an alley. I mean, there's nothing. I mean, like there's a fence that the other neighbor put up. It's just shrubs and things like that. I mean, there's really nothing in that area at all.
Okay. And then cost of the removal, I guess, is
On us.
going to you guys.
Yeah.
Okay. I guess it's city right away. So just removal of the trees, nothing really to fix up per se in the alleyway, just
Yeah.
to get them out of there.
That's correct.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to approve the removal of the trees with proper indemnification documents.
All right. Motion by Councilor Harden. Give me a second. Or do you any questions? Sorry.
I'll second. And then,
Okay, second.
that's
Yeah.
And I do have a follow-up question though. Just in clarification, then after the trees are removed, did the city arborist recommend any replanting anywhere else on the site?
The property, so as part of the building permit, we will have to satisfy the tree ordinance for the building permit on the site.
Okay.
It would not require plantings
In
in
the
the
city
city
right
right
of way.
away, because of course it's not
No,
a
yeah.
right of way to plant. But yeah, we have to meet all the tree ordinances for the construction.
Perfect. Okay.
And I guess another quick question. So there's a couple other pines back over here. I just saw that, not in the red area there. Off to-
Correct, those are on his property. So,
Okay.
yeah, and those, a couple of those were
Well,
approved.
there's
in
4 of them
earlier-
actually. So two have red X's on them.
Yeah, those 2 have already been removed, that
Okay.
permit's been received. And then, yeah.
The 2 down closer to the roadway.
Those are staying for now.
Okay.
Yeah. And I think his plan is to keep all those trees, and then we'll
Okay.
plant additional trees as well.
All right. So we had a motion by Councilor Harden, a second by Councilor Sims. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? 4-0, Ms. Salter. So it'll go to full council next week,
Sounds good.
6 o'clock.
Thank you.
Yep.
Yeah, perfect.
030522, request for work in the city right away to tap storm infrastructure at 305 Morris Boulevard in the city storm inlet. Willow Holmes and Cale Smith.
So I'll just talk real quick and Jason can fill in whatever he wants to do. Basically, we're just gonna collect all of the downspouts and pipe them to the inlet. So the question is, can he tie into this inlet right here?
Is this the same house? Sorry, that we talked about? No.
No.
You were here a couple weeks ago, though.
Yeah.
Different
yeah,
property. Okay. That's what I thought.
Different project, yeah.
Okay.
I think there might be did I send you a picture of the screenshot?
Of the inlet itself?
So,
Yeah.
so if we don't tie into it, it's still gonna sheet drain down to the street anyway, right?
No, it's not. It's not. So, I mean, you see the
Well, it's
site
gonna
here?
sit on the
If
property.
he just splashes on grade with those downspouts, he's gonna create adverse effects here and on the neighbors here. It's gonna create
I mean,
pretty
I was thinking,
significant issues.
at some point it's gonna rain, okay.
After it flows through their crawl space and they call me like 25 times.
No, I mean, I like the idea.
Yeah, and so he's just gonna collect all of that and.
I'm
pipe to the
speaking in
inlet.
favor of what's happening.
Yeah. It's right, the inlet's right behind this car, but it's just a regular grade.
And the reason he's coming to us is because it's in our right of way.
That's right.
Will it be underground?
Yeah,
The
everything's
water
gonna be
run underground to
yeah.
get to it?
Yeah,
No adverse effects that we know of that
that's right.
from doing that.
Putting a 5-inch gutter on there,
6.
6 inch.
Most of them are 6.
4 doesn't work, I'll just tell y'all.
Half rounds look good, yeah.
Yeah.
Kale, from this standpoint, when we're talking about tying in and the speed and volume of water that comes through at a given time, I mean, how is that regulated in the stormwater plan, and how does this compare? And,
I asked that a different way.
okay, so if this volume of stormwater is coming in directly into our system, like straight off the house through the inlet,
Versus going into retention or something,
Yeah.
detention somewhere.
then I'm assuming that we regulate somehow the volume and the speed that can come into our system.
Sure.
And I'm assuming then that this plan meets those standards.
Yeah, so go back to the plan. So basically, without doing a deep dive into hydrology, basically what Jason is proposing for the site is that half of the house goes back here to the backyard toward the alley, and then the front half goes here to that inlet, and then hydrologically, since that's the condition we're still within the post-construction stormwater ordinance. Ideally, we would want him to put it in a pipe and put it in an underground retention system, but because our ordinance is where it is currently, we can't require him to do that because of impervious percentages and that kind of thing.
Okay. So it meets the current ordinance, and it's not like all of the water from the site's going through the inlet.
That's right. So half of it is going to go back here, and all this is grass, and it's going to go a lot more slowly back here to the alley than it will go to here.
Okay.
I will say this is a 206-foot deep lot. It's a little bigger than your normal lot. So that backyard is actually sizable, and it naturally already drained there. I think we're actually improving from what was there before. There was a humongous amount of concrete back there before. And by gathering this, I think we're probably improving the neighbor's situation from what it was before.
That's a good point. So Jason and I met out there a couple weeks ago, and the biggest concern was not what's happening in our pipes downstream. It's like, how do we prevent the folks to the north and south of them, on either side of them, getting impacted with stormwater? And so we looked at a curb option on here. We looked at a couple other things, but this seems to be the best solution.
That is a ribbon driveway too, so that's like, that whole stretch right here is just 2 ribbons of concrete and all of it's grass. So we did try to also slow the water down through that.
So you're gonna tie into the box?
Yes. Yeah.
So, sorry, just a follow-up to what you said about it's not so much about what's happening with the volume downstream, because I want to make sure I'm not misunderstanding something. Because my concern is like flooding downstream, and
Sure.
and that's why I was thinking that
that's
this all ultimately impacts that when
Yeah.
you have Griffin and Shades joining, and then
100%.
flooding. Okay.
You're absolutely correct on all of those things.
Okay.
But again, here, it all used to go here. Some of it used to go to the back, and some of it used to go to the front. Most of it used to go to the front, I think. We're taking half of it, sending half of it to the back, and half of it to the front.
No, I mean, I think lot by lot, if we can make improvements, that's great. So thanks for the thoughtful consideration of doing that. Thanks.
Yeah.
I'll just add that I think I like the thought that's gone into this, and thank both of y'all for doing that, because what this does is it prevents it from being shed on the neighbors, and that's where most of our complaints to the board come from,
Right.
or our complaints from our neighbors come from. So, and we don't have a sump pump dumping directly on the street to create a slip issue or something like that, or ultimately flow
Middle of
down
the winter.
stream, and someone's curb is broken, and it flows into their yard.
Yep.
So I like this. If,
Absolutely.
I could get my sump pump into a inlet, I would love to.
Good planning.
Yeah, very good plan.
It's fantastic.
Yeah.
I'll make a motion to approve with proper identification if he's gotta do that.
Second.
Motion by Counselor Harden, second by Counselor Nelms. All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? 4-0. And that will go out to full council next week. Thank you.
It hasn't been heard yet.
Okay.
I think
I'll
Wyatt's
wait.
got it later.
040522 request to permit grading work in the city right away at Overton Park. Joel Blackstock and Cale Smith.
I'm gonna let, we see you you want, yeah, the whole thing.
PowerPoint, right?
Yeah, I'm just gonna turn it over to Joel and let him walk through this. Just have to tell me next slide.
Yeah, you can go on to the next slide. I'm Joe Blackstock. I live at 1742 Kensington Road, so I'm a 30-year resident of Homewood in this same house, but I actually lived 4 doors down another 5 years. So I guess actually my wife and I have lived here for 35 years. But we've been in this house 30 years. I've been promising my wife for 25 of those years I would add on to the back of the house. I'm not getting any younger, so we're doing that now.
Got a good architect?
Yeah, I'm trying. So we, Overton Park is the area in green, and then our house is flagged there. On the right side, back of the house, we're adding an addition. If you could go to the next slide, please. So, this shows the existing survey and topography. Oh, yeah, thank you. Yeah, so, we abut, Overton Park, but there's about a 50 or 60 yard band of kind of just woodland area right here that's rough and overgrown, and then the park kind of opens up down here with the pathway. This is an existing house, and we're adding the addition here, and the grade slopes down quite a bit, so this digs out, so it would be dug into the hill here, and this basement would open up and daylight on this side. So we have a good bit of dirt here, so if we could go to the next slide. So we're trying to optimize our yard here, so we're taking the dirt from here, kind of putting it here, and we're asking for permission to do a little bit of grading to tile the grades in on this side on the park side. And you can see when this house was built, that's pretty much what they did. They sloped out into the park. So we're carrying that with the dirt just a little bit flatter, and they need to kind of grade that out. It would just be tapered straight down at a 2-to-1 slope, or 1-to-1 even. And if you go to the next slide, so this is a picture. I'm actually standing kind of in the woods looking at the backyard. You can kind of see where this is a silk fence, and you can see where it slopes already, but we'd be doing some filling down here. If you go to the next, just another showing the house and kind of how it abuts the park. Go ahead to the next. Well, this doesn't show you much different, but I got a couple videos that kind of help. Can you click on that video? So the house is up here. This is kind of the woods. So we just kind of did a little 360 to give you a perspective of. So all our work would be back up in here, so it wouldn't really be apparent to anybody using the park. The park really is way down here. And then.
So you're just trying to tie your grades in?
Yes, exactly. So I think I have a second video here. Well, that's the same. It's just kind of showing you how buried back that is. So, we're taking the fill, we're kind of flattening that out, and we just want it, we need a little bit to tie it in to the, slope it off into the park.
Are you losing any trees? I assume.
I think we can work around the trees. We're gonna try to make it as steep as possible into the park, and surprisingly, we found a lot of boulders in the backyard that they've dug out, so we'll stack those in there to kind of make it a more vertical, so we don't have to get too far out in the park. And then we would be responsible for all landscaping, getting it stabilized, re-landscaping it, tying it in, so, and then, of course, all proper erosion fencing will be put in. And we've been working with Kale on we have a retention system down at the bottom designed to go in there as well.
Okay. So, did I hear you correctly? You're going to use some sort of boulders or native rock that's around there to kind of build a little bit of a retaining wall kind of at the bottom?
We could probably stack the dirt at a 1-to-1, but if we put some of the boulders we found into that fill, I think we get it even steeper so it doesn't go out as far. So we'll just have to work that out, but we're wanting to, when we carry the dirt, we take the dirt under the basement and we put it out, fill it on the back slope. It just, gives us, to kind of slope it back down into the park there. Helps out. It just works and make it all look more natural.
And that's gonna help with the water retention, that's what you guys were talking about.
Yeah, and back here, we actually are showing a retention pond, so we have 425 cubic feet of number 57 stone, and we're creating kind of a little dam here, and then basically that will hold the water and release it slowly. So we put that retention system in, we work with Kale on that.
So that'll be part of the landscaping work too.
Yeah, but I mean, this request doesn't have anything
Right.
to do with the
Sure.
detention.
Sure.
Oh, okay.
I just wanted to make sure,
He's just asking for the right to go.
we didn't have runoff that was going to
Right.
wash that out.
Right.
Joe, how much dirt you think we're looking at for that? And you think you can keep it at a 2-to-1 slope?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think so.
I
Sure.
prefer you, I really don't want to go 1-to-1, I prefer to go 2-to-1 on that thing.
Okay, yeah, that makes it stabilize a little easier.
Yeah.
So what we're talking about improving is the work and the right of way, which is the so that's that little
dome.
sliver right there with the diagonal lines.
Right.
And that's
Yeah, that's right, kind of fill in this slope, just a little bit would be in the park, and then at this point would be most of the park, but that's probably no more than 10 feet, in the neighborhood of 10 feet at most.
And you're gonna put a fence down your property line, is that correct?
Yeah, once this is all put together, then this yard, this will be kind of flat, this will be sloped. We'll figure out, we'll either put a hedge here, or I don't know how we'll treat that, it'll be up to the landscape architect.
I thought maybe you'd put us an extra playground.
Have you looked at this directly, Berkeley? Okay.
It'll help back there, that's what I said, if they go 2-to-1 on that slope back there, it'll help some of that runoff back there anyway.
Okay.
It'll be beneficial for us too.
Do we need to quantify, Mike, how far the work in the right of way is, since
We just have to approve
the
it.
right of way is the entire park, or?
No,
Well, no, he said
based on
10
that
feet.
drawing.
Right,
We just-
there's just no
Drawing
measurements on the
required
drawing that I can
agreement.
see, so that's why I was asking.
Yeah, you kind of, we didn't totally survey the park, but you can kind of see where this was flat back when this house was done. This slopes off, so as we come further back, we just need to carry these grades, at a slope there. So a lot of it is just, I think the dirt work guys got to get in there and kind of build those layers up and responsibly build a 2-to-1 slope there. So it's hard to say exactly how many feet that would be. I would think 10, 12 feet, somewhere in there. I would like to think it might even be less than that.
Well, there'd have to be a permit issue, and that would be spelled out in the permit.
And from that standpoint too, I mean, in other situations where people worked in the right of way, we've kind of created some parameters for the dimension for the work to be contained within, I mean, could we not do the same in the exhibit to this?
Absolutely.
I'm like Bill, I don't think you'll get more than about 15 feet.
Okay.
Or probably allow them to like 20 feet to allow for them to get in there and be able to.
That'd give you, I think that'd be, 20 feet gives you plenty enough room
Yeah, if you could do that, it'd be great, but I don't think we'll
to, I don't
do
think you'll go
that.
that far.
20 feet would just give you enough, it sounds like, to
Yeah.
have some room to work
Give some license,
in that area.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that would be great. That'd be
Okay.
great.
So I guess, Mike, do we just need to have that added
Well, if
to?
you can put on the exhibit, or I can put, make grading improvements to the open part right away, not to exceed 20 feet.
Okay, that sounds great.
I'll make a motion to grant the request to permit grading work in the right of way.
With the,
Proper identification.
all that?
Yeah.
Yeah, all right. Motion by Counselor Nelms.
Second.
Second by Counselor Sims. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? 4-0 Melody, and we stand adjourned.